today I want to show you a couple more of my creations. Lately I've been busy making these mixed media assemblage pieces, and I really enjoy making them. And if you have been following my channel, you've seen these. This was my very first one. Then I did a second one, and for this I used a tray which originally was used for kids' toys, wooden toys. And another tray like this I also used for this project. Now, even though all three of these look completely different, they were put together in a similar fashion, where I used all kinds of odds and ends, findings, no matter their color, put them together, covered them in gesso, either black or white, and colored them. Of course, there are many more steps taken and many more details. And if you want to know any more about these projects, you can check out my playlist where you find the videos which go along with these. Anyway, when I was looking through my stash to find all the little bits and pieces, and when I was going to second-hand stores to look for, you know, all kinds of little kids' toys and odds and ends and things I could use to make these, I also found pieces which were just very pretty all on their own, where I felt I did not necessarily want to alter them or cover them in gesso or paint. So I took two more of these trays I was lucky to find, and I put a different type of assemblage together. Now, as you can see, these are not covered in paint. These are in their original shape and form, and I will show these to you in detail. Let me start with this one here. So again, these are those toy trays, and they come in different size compartments. So this one has four, two big ones and two little ones here. And I started by covering them with book pages, just decoupaging it. And then I used my modeling paste and a stencil to put a little texture on the sides and on the top. And then I used green and brown craft paint with a little glazing medium to bring a little color to it. Not too much, just a little bit. Okay, let me show you the details. This little guy is supposed to hang on this hook. So these two elements are found at a thrift store. They are little clay embellishments, and I covered them with this paint, folk art metallic paint. This one is called Champagne. It's a real pretty color and gives it a really lovely satin shine. So I added the bow to the very top, and here in the first compartment I added a vintage image of a little girl, a piece of broken jewelry. Now this is only attached on the top and on the bottom, so it moves. It has a little bit of bling and some gold glitter all around it. This is a little clay pot I brought with me when I was in Mexico. There is a little crystal marble. And then here's my little angel. This was part of a keychain which I had forever and ever. And then here in the back I added a doily which has a little distress ink on it. And this I just found recently. It's actually an old-fashioned cookie cutter. And the heart on the top is made of very flexible metal, so it molded itself nicely to the shape, so it really fit together perfectly. So the little horse I added to the very edge here, so I had some room behind it for some extra decoration. I like to collect playing cards who have a fun backing, so I found these ones with the pretty colors, and that's what I used here. One went flat to the back, and the other one has a little foam padding underneath it, so it comes forward a little bit. And it gives it kind of a three-layered look here. And then I added these earrings, and these beads are really pretty. They're like green and pink. And yes, with this whole assemblage, this particular box, I stuck with greens and pinks, a little bit of gold. Down here, a little blue and a little gray, but not too many colors. I didn't want it to go crazy colorful, so I tried to kind of match it a little bit. So in this compartment I used another playing card, this one with music notes. I also added two wooden razor cut embellishments, the little cameo And then I had an empty bullet here, and I added the flowers to it. And down here on the bottom is another vintage photo of two girls at the beach. And I added these two tags. The bottom one is attached to a piece of wood, so it's elevated a little bit. And this is attached with a paper brad, so they move. And then on the bottom I added beads, small brown ones, little bigger green ones, some semi-precious stones I had. And then this little turtle, which is also made out of a stone. There are two gears, and there's a little hummingbird, which this hummingbird moves as it's on a pin and it's meant to go on a collar. This is one of those epoxy stickers. It has a seagull in it. And here's another earring, and this one has a pretty green-blue stone. And I added a little bit of glossy accent to the little girl's bucket where she was collecting water. So yeah, so this is this one. So let's go on to the next one. Now here I also decoupaged it, but I used craft paper, and this craft paper I cut. And then when it was all dry and everything was covered, I used ordinary brown shoe polish to go over it, and it brings out the texture really nicely and also stains it a bit. And then I started by adding this piece of burlap, a long strip all the way down here. I also added a little bit of craft metal, little piece here, here, and down here. And let's see, so up here I added another earring, a little pretty one with turquoise beads, and I nailed it to the frame. Oh yeah, and this particular project I kept it to brown, silver, and turquoise mostly. It has a brown piece of lace behind it. Then I had these two spools of thread. That one I changed the color on that one. There are some glass beads, those flat back glass beads, two in turquoise. There is a little tiger eye bead. There is a metal key. There's a cutest little silver cookie cutter. There's a piece of some jewelry, and the middle was actually gold, and I changed it to silver. Yeah, and then I had 4 of these bottles in different sizes with a cork. So I added 2 here, and this one has turquoise glitter, and this has very coarse silver glitter in it. And then there's a little metal elephant, which was part of a jewelry piece as well. And then down here I added a couple of nails who had these little rings attached to them. And I added the chain and these pretty bright turquoise shiny beads. And in the background here I used some vintage ephemera. This is an old license plate. This is a phone dial. And then I had these 2 ceramic rings, and I have no clue what they were originally intended for. So I added those because they're quite pretty. They're also brown turquoise. Another one of those glass beads, some tiny silver beads, and a little bit of bling. In the next compartment, because it was so long and skinny, I decided to add my little wooden train. I had this train forever and ever. And then here is another tiger eye bead and a couple more of those metal beads. Now on this side, I made this look like a book. This is actually an ephemera piece. It looks like a cover of an atlas, and I added foam behind it. So again, this gives it a 3-dimensional feel, and I also added the bookmark. And there are 2 more of my bottles, this time with turquoise beads. And this one's too have a lot of turquoise in it, but also some gold and purple, kind of a fluorescent bead. And then on this side I added this pretty frame, which I also had for a long time, and a little silhouette of a drummer boy. This was a piece of thread which has these tiny beads embedded in it, mostly turquoise. In the back are some very delicate paper die-cut flowers. This is another turquoise jewel. It was a piece of a necklace. And then this is also a piece of jewelry, and I changed the color of the stone. It was red originally to make it kind of fit in here real well. So this is the second one. And yeah, these were done very, very differently. But they're still assemblage pieces as they're permanently attached, and also doing it this way rather than just displaying small things on a shelf, you are able to work on the background. You can attach things to the side, you can have moving parts, and you can have the 3D effect because you can add different layers. So I really enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun, and I really was able to use quite a few elements I had laying around. So I hope this little video gave you some ideas. The reason I did not make a process video of this, because it's basically just gluing, and everybody will have completely different findings. These are not necessarily things you could go somewhere and buy. These are things you find, so it will look completely different when you do it. But it's a lot of fun. I hope it gave you some inspiration. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon again. Bye bye for now.